What if World War III was just 5 minutes away, and we only found out after it had been canceled? That's not a movie plot. That's what nearly happened between Iran and Israel. Two bitter enemies, missiles in the air raid sirens in Tel Aviv, explosions in the skies over Tehran, a storm that looked inevitable. And then, silence. No peace deal, no summit, no handshake, just nothing. The news cycle moved on. But behind that eerie calm lies a truth far stranger and far more dangerous than most people realize. Because the question isn't why the conflict started. It's why it stopped so suddenly, and who pulled the strings behind the scenes. This is not just a story of war and peace. It's a story of espionage, shadow diplomacy, psychological warfare, and a high-stakes geopolitical chess match where the players don't always know they're being watched.
Let's rewind. It began, at least publicly, with an Israeli airstrike on an Iranian consulate in Damascus. That strike killed several senior commanders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran called it a violation of international law, a direct attack on its sovereignty. So Iran did something it hadn't done in decades. It responded directly, not through proxies like Hezbollah or the Houthis, but with a massive drone and missile assault from Iranian soil, targeting Israeli cities and military bases. Over 300 projectiles were launched. It was the most open confrontation between the two countries in modern history. And yet, miraculously, only minor damage occurred. Why? Because most of those missiles were intercepted. Israel's Iron Dome, David Sling, and US-supplied defenses activated in perfect coordination. But that wasn't the end. Israel retaliated, not just with rhetoric, but with precision airstrikes inside Iranian territory. Fighter jets struck sites in Isfahan, home to Iran's nuclear facilities. Suddenly, the world was staring down the barrel of a nuclear-tinged regional war.
And just when it looked like the next move might come from Hezbollah in Lebanon or Iranian-backed militias in Iraq, everything stopped. No further strikes, no more escalation. Both sides went quiet. The war that was supposed to happen vanished. So what really happened? Western intelligence sources believe secret talks were held, not in New York or Geneva, but through shadowy intermediaries in Switzerland and Oman. The goal wasn't peace, it was deconfliction, containment, a way for both Iran and Israel to back away from the edge without losing face. According to one leaked source, the backchannel messaging involved Qatar, France, and the CIA. The offer was simple. You've each made your point. Walk away now, or risk a multi-front war neither of you can control.
And here's where things get fascinating. Iranian officials, facing a collapsing economy and growing internal unrest, knew a prolonged conflict could destabilize the regime. The rial was crashing, water shortages were triggering protests. The last thing the leadership needed was war on top of that. Israel, meanwhile, was receiving quiet warnings from both Washington and the EU that continued escalation could backfire politically and diplomatically. Even military advisors inside the Israeli cabinet reportedly warned Prime Minister Netanyahu, if Hezbollah joins in, we'll be fighting on 4 fronts. This isn't sustainable. But even that isn't the full story. In the 48 hours before the ceasefire, cyber warfare reached a critical level. Iran's air traffic systems flickered offline. Port terminals were hit with ransomware. Simultaneously, Israel's municipal water supply systems experienced malfunctions that experts now say were likely state-sponsored cyber intrusions. Cyber experts began calling this the invisible front line. No explosions, no sirens, just screens going dark. Some believe this mutual digital assault was the true trigger for the ceasefire. Not diplomacy, not fear, just a chilling realization that both sides could cripple each other silently and in minutes.
According to military analysts, both countries are now rearming, quietly. Israeli submarines have repositioned in the Persian Gulf. Iran's missile factories in Khuzestan are operating 24/7. Hezbollah's drone divisions are expanding. And while headlines have faded, the red lights on classified war rooms have not. There are also rumors, unconfirmed but persistent, that Russia and China intervened behind the scenes. Moscow allegedly warned Tehran not to destabilize the region while it's focused on Ukraine. China, which has growing energy deals with both Iran and Israel, is said to have applied economic pressure, threatening to delay key oil shipments if war broke out. Whether those threats were made or not, the result is the same: a ceasefire with no signature, no agreement, just mutual silence. But perhaps the most chilling theory comes from a former Mossad operative who told a European journal, "This wasn't a resolution, it was a rehearsal for something bigger, a chance for each side to test response times, radar coverage, cyber capacity, and public reaction, like a dress rehearsal before the real play begins." And the world? The world clapped when the missiles stopped, but the real show may still be coming. So ask yourself, was this a diplomatic breakthrough, or just the eye of the storm? This conflict may have paused, but nothing is resolved. Iran's nuclear ambitions remain, Israel's red lines remain, and both sides are still armed and angry. We're not telling you war is coming tomorrow, but when the next flashpoint ignites, it won't be a surprise to those who understand what really happened behind closed doors. This has been Unheard Whispers, bringing you the truths behind the silence. If this story gave you a new perspective, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who still thinks diplomacy happens in the open. And remember, in geopolitics, what's not said often matters more than what is. Stay informed, stay curious, and we'll see you next time on Unheard Whispers.